Valhalla Rising was the first film I made right after Bronson. I shot them back to back. Bronson was very much my own catharsis because it made, while making it and editing it, I really evaluated my own life in terms of what I had done. And I would say I'm into my phase 2, but Valhalla Rising is the first movie of my second phase. And I always wanted to do a science fiction movie. But I didn't want to do it about technology, which is very much part of science fiction movies of today. If you want to make a science fiction, but today technology is such a big part because technology is a big part of our life. I wanted to do a mental science fiction film, and I kind of had the idea that place it in the 1100s, where religious turmoil was at a very peaking point of Christianity versus mythology. And Christianity being order, killing mythology. And I guess that's one of the combinations that I wanted to bring into it. But making a science fiction movie was my first goal. And the story is about a man who's a monolith. He's an enigma. He has one eye but no past or present. And he's held captive. And he escapes, and he journeys with Christian Vikings to the Holy Land to fight the first war, where they end up in America and it goes horribly wrong. But the protagonist, who's called One Eye, the enigma, monolith, goes through 4 stages. He's slave, then warrior, then God, then man, which is the evolution of mankind from primal to human. That's basically the underscore of it. And then on top of that, there's the whole, don't talk, kill people attitude, which is, important for those kind of films. It's a mythology film, I guess. And I guess on top of that, I always wanted to make a movie like when Dennis Hopper went to Mexico making that movie, I can't remember, he took a lot of drugs with him and he came back with a really strange film. And I always wanted to make a movie which was so on impulse and yet had all the genre elements of A Snake Plissken, which I grew up with. That was my favorite film when I was young. And I remember seeing Stalker by Tarkovsky and blowing away, and then I wanted things about war and fanaticism. And I traveled to the outskirts of the Scottish regions where people wouldn't even travel in helicopters to, because I was so obsessive about making this film at the edge of the world. So I guess Valhalla is a combination of all things. That's why it's called Valhalla Rising. Well, Mads Mikkelsen and I go a long way. This is our 4th film together. We have a very strong relationship. This is probably the most difficult film we made because the ambitions were very high, and Matt, of course, had a very demanding role, being a monolith and having only one eye. But we work very well because he's very good at playing me, and I'm very good at letting him do that. And we don't socialize when we don't work. We never see each other. But when we work, it's like we haven't left each other. So there's a very strange relationship between us. And this is our 4th film, and I'm working on the 5th film with him, which I would like to do in Los Angeles in a year or so. Because there's something about him that he is what I would call a movie star, and everything that comes with it. Oh yeah, I mean, I grew up on pop culture cinema very much. I mean, I've always been a spaghetti western fan, I mean, to the Django where the guy pulls the gun from the cuff. But I think the One Eye personality is very much a combination of all folklore. All folklore has the hero, the silent hero. He appears everywhere, being it the gunslinger or the Viking or the samurai or, whatever mythology, Chinese character, the fighter. You know, it's part of our own kind of sense. But I'm very much a combination of many things. But of course, you know, Baby Cart had a very big influence on me. A Boy and His Dog had a very big influence on me on Valhalla. You know, many of those kind of films, and just, I guess my favorite spaghetti western is of course Sergio Leone. I mean, Once Upon the West, but there was a movie that I really like called The Django Kill If You Live Shoot, which is one of the more obscure ones. Really weird, but I sometimes tend to prefer the music actually. But everything is a combination of all those things. Well, I got a couple of movies that I may do. I don't know which one falls in first. Well, maybe I do actually. But there's a movie called The Dying of the Light, that Paul Schrader script that I'm very happy with, that I want to make. We are closing now. Then I have my own next film, which is a script I've written called Only God Forgives, which is a western in Bangkok that I was going to do next. But Dying of the Light is pushing that a little bit. And then the Matt's movie that I would like to do is a heist film in Los Angeles that I'm doing together with Goldberg Berinsky. He's producing it, Jonathan Krauss. And then I'm attached to make Jekyll and Hyde at Universal. But those Hollywood movies, you never know. Yes. I prefer not to wait. You know, I don't want to wait 2 years. I don't want to develop for 2 years. I'll just go make a small movie. And because that's what we do. We make movies. We don't wait.